Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue the applause and give it up for the moderator, Mr. Ganesh Subramaniam, founder and CEO, Stylumia. To kindly join us here and invite our panelists on stage. Sankalp Goyal, CEO and founder, Book My Diamonds. Abhijit Lalgonkar, business head, Sales Wiz. Devi Reddy, co-founder, Director, Zithara Technologies Private Limited. May we please give it up for and welcome Nilesh Rathod, CEO, Atmosphere. Revolutionizing the jewelry retail with cutting-edge tech. Thank you for the music. Ganesh, very excited. Let's go ahead. Yeah, sure. My lovely team, can we call Nilesh from outside? Nilesh Rathod, CEO at Atmosphere. Yeah. Can join us? Should we go ahead and start? I truly appreciate the brilliant music that you've been playing since morning. Thank you so much. Thank you for the music. We just love the music. And the films in South, of course, we all know the biggest market in the world of films. So thank you for the music as well. Ganesh, over to you. He'll join us the moment he's in the room. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm Ganesh Subramanian, founder and CEO of Stylumia. I've been in brand and retail for over 20 years. I haven't done any jewelry retail. We do serve jewelry retail for sure. And we have an excellent panel. I was just thinking about how to introduce this panel. I was just looking at an analogy with nature. Imagine there is a forest, there is a river flowing through it, and there is a wonderful sky with stars dazzling. This forest is the retail space. Right now we have people who build that forest in the panel. And there is a river which takes from one end to the other end of the forest through the entire customer journey. We have people covering that in the panel. And we have people who will help us see the stars. The stars are the diamonds, right? For discover these diamonds, we have astronomers here who will make all these stars very, very accessible. It's I would like each one of you to introduce yourself maybe in a minute.
Thanks for the wonderful analogy. I'm Sankalp, founder of Book My Diamond. Book My Diamond is a diamond trading platform for retail jewelers to buy diamonds, but also to show this inventory to your customer and improve the sales efficiency.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Abhijit here from Sales Wiz. The motto of Sales Wiz, the punchline is simple, fast, secure. And that is what we are trying to achieve by trying to provide one single solution for all brick and mortar stores to have a very simple and a fast way to bring their business online.
Hi everyone, I'm Devi, co-founder of Zithara Technologies. We help retailers with the customers from lead to loyal. Basically, get the customers as a lead and turn them into customers and engage them until they become loyal with you. We provide a all-in-one customer engagement platform for your customers, for your businesses. That's what we do.
Go ahead, Nilesh. Just an introduction. We just joined on time.
Sorry?
Introduce yourself in a minute.
Oh, okay. So I'm Nilesh Rathod. I'm the founder of Atmosphere. So we are basically call ourselves Atmosphere, the store makers. We are a unique design and build company which does retail design, build the store, as well as manufacture all the products that are required for building the store, including the fixtures, the counters, the back ends, facades, all of it. We do it in a very different way as against the conventional, traditional way where you appoint a designer and then there are agencies who will then execute things for you. As against that, what we do is we use a back-end software which integrates the entire process. So the design itself, for us, onboarding a customer is a very big exercise where we understand your customers, your product line, and where your brand stands and what really you stand for. And based on that, we build a complete library of everything that is required in a store, independent by every retailer. And then when the real store comes in, basically what we are doing is we are dragging and dropping all the things and showing you the complete 3D visualization of your store. Now, to back it up, all of those designs are linked to our own manufacturing, which is an Industry 4.0 system. And there is zero wastage, absolute efficiency. The whole design is done with scanners. There is a new technology called LiDAR-based scanners, which kind of maps the entire room or the entire store. And we then drag and drop the libraries that we've created for you and then build the store out of it. And it is done in an absolute fixed timeline, as against, the lags due to cost overruns or time overruns. And that's where we really save money for the customer. And we've been doing this for 11 years. And the technology bit has started post-COVID. So the last 2.5 years, we've done a lot of stores in this model. So yeah, that's what we do.
Wonderful. Thanks for all your introductions. I just want to set some context for this topic, right? We're thinking about revolution. Revolution is not something incremental. It's transformation. And transformation happens when you change the status quo. And we are today talking about technology. And there's also something called cutting edge, right? Now, cutting edge is not technology, right? No technology can transform business unless it impacts the most important person in the business, which is consumer. For request for all the panelists is if you can keep consumer at the center and bring all your points of view, how can we ensure that we deliver consistently improving value for the consumer, right? So that's number one. Number two is, how many of you keep hearing that AI is very hot and very relevant these days than ever before? Right? So there is a fair amount of hands raised, and I'm sure those who are not raising hands and maybe you are sitting on the fence. Right now, just want to demystify a bit of technology and AI here. We don't pick up anything because it is hyped. We pick up anything because it adds value. Right? And I just want to talk about this. AI is all about data, right? And data is all about people. So data comes from people. Who makes the data? It is our store staff. When they do transaction, there is data created. We can actually make a lot of mistakes. Therefore, if you really see, everybody in the organization helps in creating data, and data is the raw material for AI. And hence, your AI is irrelevant if your data is not relevant. For the focus on technology, instead of just talking AI, go to the root of AI, which is data. For everything that you have in your company, the data you're building, the quality of it will decide the outcome that you're going to have. But having said that, it's not just AI or cutting edge that we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about how any technology today can help transform your retail, right? And I'm going to pick, first each one of your panelists, if you can just start by giving your opening statement of what do you mean by transforming retail, jewelry retail with cutting edge technology?
Right. So if I take a real example, let's say for Book My Diamond, at your retail store, let's say there's a customer who comes in and she asks for a particular kind of a diamond, right? She would want to know the price. Now it is up to you or your sales person or his efficiency is training, how fast can he quote the customer with a price. She'll not be satisfied. She'll ask 5 more diamond categories. What's the price of a 1 carat, half a carat, D color, J color? I just want to know. The more you can answer this, the faster the sales will happen. So if you focus on the customer and try to close the customer in the first visit itself, instead of she coming second week, second visit, third visit, next week, phone call, WhatsApp, right? So basically you are delaying that process of decision making for the customer. if you can transform the customer's decision-making process by adding, let's say, Book My Diamond as a solution or any of the other solutions, you are graduating the customer from a browser to a decision maker, and they will start thinking of your store, your retail brand as final destination. कहीं भी देखेंगे, खरीदेंगे वहीं से, वहाँ जाते हैं, काम हो जाता है. My purchase gets done when I enter this store because they have these things ready. I want to transform the customer's experience to that for your store.
Wonderful. I think, Sankalp, what you said is, how can we use technology to convert intent to purchase, reduce the time? The moment I have an intent, how can I purchase? And I will get into details.
According to the study that was released by Deloitte, retail today, any form of retail, especially high-end retail, loses 30% of their revenue because of the walkaway customers. What we mean by walkaway customers, I'm sure all of the jewelers here have experienced that. When a customer comes into the store and looks at the inventory and walks away, that's a walkaway customer. Reason could be price, reason could be lack of designs, reason could be bad experience. Any of these things, nevertheless, are causing 30% revenue loss. All of this can be only addressed if you have a system that is integrated from the time customer even thinks about coming into your business. That could happen from your social channels or from your events or anywhere else you're looking to acquire customers. And when they walk into the store, there is a connectivity that is established, which means that to reclaim that loss, you need an integrated, connected system that connects from outside the store to inside the store to back end and to your inventory and your billing system. So when you have that, you have what is called as a single truth of your customer. When you have a single truth about your customer and his buying practices and his purchase behavior across all channels, whether it's in-store or off-store or e-commerce or app or anything, I think that's where the true transformation to digital will happen in the retail. That's what I think.
Thanks, Sridevi.
So you spoke about data. Now, unfortunately, or unlike my other colleagues, we are not dealing with anything where your direct interaction with the customer or its ability to buy or not buy is affected. However, we will take a step back. Now, if you look at the unit metrics of running a store, there is capital expenditure and then there is operational expenditure. Now, first of all, when you are designing, when we talk about data, for us, your libraries, your entire product line or the merchandise that you are selling becomes our data set on which we are working. So the first level is that when you are designing a store, traditionally how it is done is you'll see 2D designs and you will make your own evaluations of how that should look. First of all, we've converted that completely to 3D. So you can have as many iterations as you want, as many layouts as you want, as many views of you want of the showroom, including VR, where you can get a real-time understanding of how this store is going to look when it is delivered. So to that extent, there is a lot of preemption you can do with respect to design at stage one. And that's where, we get a better understanding of what is the experience we are going to give to the customer when he's going to walk through that door. Having said that, it's one level is to just to design that, and the second is, can we integrate that into the build? And which is where the real saving happens by use of this technology. Because what happens is, in the traditional methods, however we are working, there are cost overruns, there are time overruns, and usually a retailer does not even value it, because those overruns come towards the end of the project when you realize, okay, I had intended to do this in 3.5 months, but it took me 5 months, or if I had intended to do it in X cost, and it took me Y cost, and those are all sunk. By the time you actually understand, you are not evaluating it. Now, when we come into the picture, because of the way we do things and the integration that we have with the manufacturing, we can give you a qualitative product within a set timeline, and we take penalties for not delivering on those timelines. And that is where I think we make a big difference in the entire unit cost or the capex cost that you have. And plus, if there are delays, there are other hidden costs. You've got operations costs, rental costs, all of those costs add on. And I don't know how to count it, but let's say if your project gets delayed by a couple of months or 20 or 30% in terms of time, there is a business loss that you have done in that period. Now, if you actually add up all of these values, it is a substantial cost. And as a retailer, we seldom, look at those costs unless, you're doing this every day in terms of, opening multiple stores all of a sudden and continuously, we hardly look at these costs. But when you actually look at it, it's a big number that you'll say. Probably by the end of 4 stores, you could have the 5th one free. That's the kind of saving that we are talking about when we actually use these kind of technologies in building what we build with us.
Okay. And Nilesh, you mentioned that you don't directly deal with customer, but I just see a different analogy for you is that you are that forest where all the animals, the living beings have to go through every day. So you are putting that architecture, the house on which the customers have to come through their lifetime. So I think what Atmosphere does is providing that entire platform which will be used for the customers.
And we work closely. See, once we have an account, we work very closely with the account because visual merchandising, your seasonal displays, all of this is very important depending on who your customer is, and we have to create that engagement. So it's a journey which transverses different avenues of the store. It's not just a one-time effort that is done and we are forgotten and gone out with. So this is a continuous work we do with our customers.
We are going to go through details of what all Atmosphere does very soon.
Sure, thank
Over
you.
to you, Abhijit. Yeah.
So the customer-centric business model, right? Everyone has to focus on that. And it's a no-brainer, and there is no argument that the future is digital. The future has to be data-driven. There is no concept left where we will do our business based on our past experience. It has to be data-driven. Last year, when I was attending one of the forums where the Carrot Lane, they were presenting, and one simple fact they mentioned, they analyze their data 4 times in a day. The traffic that hits their website, they analyze it 4 times in a day, and they decide what to position, what to market. Now, the same thing is applicable irrespective of your business size. You need to know what your customer aspires to buy. You need to know how often your customer buys, what is their average ticket size. The moment you have this data, you can customize ads, you can customize your marketing material to them so that you can have a better conversion rate and your customer retention is taken care of. Because that's another important point, right? Customer retention cost is 1/7 of a customer acquisition cost. So customer retention is a very important aspect. And technology comes to the fore there also.
Absolutely. So if you just hear everybody, what they're saying is technology is helping in various ways, and I just want to maybe simplify to say technology helps you improve 2 things. One is speed of running your business and meeting customer requirements. Second is accuracy of doing it. One is if you do things faster, you save time, you save resources, you save money. And we will get into now details in each one of their cases, how are they actually doing it very soon. For speed, accuracy, and I just want to quote Elon Musk. I don't know if you are following Elon Musk very closely. He has one principle on which he takes lots of decisions. And that principle is very simple. It's just 3 words. In fact, he says it, everything is information. In this world, everything is information. He says, what is money? Money is information. Right? Now, if you consider everything is information, some of what they are saying will make a lot of sense because you saw Abhijit talking about data drives a lot of business benefits. For data is the raw layer of information. Right? Now, one of the reasons that, blockchain, the digital currency is all going is, if you consider money as information, you will start placing bets there. For the question now here is, each one of them are digitizing some part of the value chain for you, right? For what I really want to ask you is that how in your area, for example, in choosing diamonds for consumers, if you can tell them what is the current process, how you are helping your existing customers so that real case studies, they can relate to how is it helping, right? If you can just take through a case study on how choice of diamonds is helping consumers and the business.
Right. So for diamonds, there are more than 35 million category of solitaires. If you split them in colors, clarities, cuts and all, right? Which a customer is basically has to choose from, right? So the customer will have a budget and a taste. Currently at your stores, what is happening is when the customer comes and she asks for a diamond, she has to wait for the information for the answer, and that to an accurate answer, right? What Book My Diamond platform does is, it gives you a guarantee on price and availability of 2 lakh solitaires, which is roughly 6,500 crores of inventory, which is all one-day deliverable in 50 cities in India at least, because in 2023 we've done that, hopefully more this year. So the accuracy of the data helps the customer make a decision on the spot. The instant availability help the customer make an instant decision. Right, your margins are already fit in. In our system, you can add your own margin. You can change your margin depending on what day it is, what customer it is, what season it is, what category of diamonds you are dealing in. But the idea is the data is true. Hence, you can derive information out of it, which can help the customer make an instant decision. I want to buy this. The moment she books a diamond in the store of the jeweler receives the diamond the next day. He can put it into a ring and dispatch it. So
Can you just tell a case study of pre your subscription and post your subscription? What has changed for your customer?
Right. So our customers, so first of all, it's free. We've kept it free. We want legitimate, good legacy jewelers who have the mota customer, as you say, of the solitaires. Right. Typically, we have seen a minimum 2x in the turnover, a drastic reduction in inventory load, because it's zero inventory. So technically the turnovers are infinite, right? A retail jeweler with, let's say, 6 stores has almost, since 2019, they have almost multiplied their turnover by 5 times. Their salesmen in this weakest store would not even sell 30,000 rupees of solitaire without the assistance of the purchase head. Today, he's selling 1 carat as 2 lakh rupee, 3 lakh rupee diamonds without even asking anybody in the store. So that kind of expertise, that kind of confidence builds in the salesman.
That's amazing. Therefore, you're de-skilled straight. And with the case study on how...
So I'll give you a particular case study. Our best, actually, we work with global brands. I mean, Tumi is a customer to us, Emporio Armani is a customer to us, and there are several. I mean, we can go through the list separately. But my best case study in a case like this is actually an apparel brand called Kalki. Many of you may have heard, they have stores all across. There are stores in Bangalore, Hyderabad. So that customer... Typical 10,000 square feet turnaround time was 4 months, 5 months for a store. When we came into the picture, there was a learning curve of about 2 months where we spent with the first store. Now, every store where we are spending upwards of 5 crore in every store, we are delivering it in 50 days from ground break. And they are able to open the store in 50 days from whenever we start. So they are getting a 1 month or 1.5 month head start on the rentals, which usually was taking 2 months. Obviously, the 2 months extra sale is pushing back your break even to the store by almost 30 to 40%. And that's where we really come in. Other thing is the visualization. The way we work, or everything designed in 3D, and these 3Ds are not just templates for you to see. This is what is actually going to the shop floor to get manufactured. So it's to the last screw is shown in that 3D if you need to kind of break open and see how it's made. So that's how we do our back end. And with this customer, every time we have been able to do that, their break-evens are brought down by 4 months, 5 months in terms of the store output. Now, one more thing, it rarely happens probably with jewelry, but let's say you have a store and 6 months, 8 months down the line, you decide that this location is not working for me. Now, in your conventional model, you will have to just bunch up everything and throw it all away because you can't take anything out of it. The way we do it, we are able to recover 70 to 80% of the store. So next time you give me another layout that, look, Nilesh, this is the new layout and this store we want to shut down, I can make the new layout and run a matrix to tell you that 70% of this is usable and only these many elements are required and this is the extra cost and we can move this entire store here and we can stop your loss. So there are many benefits that, accrue out of something like this, and we've done that. In case of Kalki only, we've done one store where we've done the store and then we had to move the store to some other location because that location wouldn't work for them. Mistakes happen. So our analysis, and today's location of the store is everything. The strategic location of every store is everything when it comes to the actual sale that you determine from there. People are waiting for the location. If they get the location, they're happy to open stores. They won't open a store just because there is something available to them. So for us, working with that model, and again, your unit economics is very important because, you've got inventory costs, you've got operating costs, and you've got the capex costs. The sum total of that, every month of delay is adding a big number to it. And that's where we really harp on, and what we do on the back end or how we do, and that also is an ongoing process because you spoke about AI. How AI helps in project management is mind-boggling. Today, for giving you a project management report, we don't have to run through a lot of data and crunch numbers and do all of that. The way we record our data itself creates the project reports. You see, so all that also is information available to you at a fingertip, which gives you the transparency. So I think that's where we come from. And when you are scaling, you need partners who can scale with you at that level. And that's the kind of customer we are looking at, who's really wanting to scale and at the same time keep it at a level of economics which works for his customer and allows him to open more such ventures.
Yeah. See, what's interesting apart from all the economic benefits, the fact that you're able to reuse 70% of a old store, that's amazing, because even from a sustainability perspective,
Correct.
why would we waste any of that, right? I think we'll get some more details into that. Sridevi, I think when I was speaking to you and you mentioned that you handle the business from lead to loyalty. Yes. So that was looking exciting. Now, it's not a simple task, right?
Yes.
Now, and people call it, using technology terms, called customer data platform. Now, can you make it simple and tell our audience, right, why is it required, right? And what is the status quo here? And why should somebody shift from their current system to an end-to-end system like yours? And if you can also share some benefits which your customers have got so that they can relate to it.
Sure. So we are, I'll talk about one of the customers that we're currently working with. It's a big retailer in South India with 32 outlets. When they came to us, they had one singular problem. The problem is they had multiple systems. They had big names as well as CRMs, etc. But all of those systems were in silos, which means they were disconnected. So one system was not talking to another. For example, every retailer here must know about a POS system. Their POS system was not talking to the CRM system. The CRM system would not talk to the communication platform, vis-a-vis, which is a messaging platform or something like that. So what was happening is your CRM managers or yourself are sitting there looking at the data, downloading Excel spreadsheets and looking at your customer list, which was running into lakhs and lakhs of data, and are taking and saying, okay, I'm going to now reach out to these 1 lakh customers for this particular Akshaya Tritiya event. And you would campaign blindly. So what would happen is the campaign would definitely go out, but it wasn't necessarily giving the result that you were looking for, because those are not the customer probably that will be responding to a message of this nature. But you were not going to understand that because your systems are not talking to each other. This data silo problem is prevalent in every retail industry and more so in jewelry, because your adaptation to technology has been little delayed and little been slow. Unfortunately, there are not big systems that are connected today. So we went to this retailer when their problem statement was, we are spending crores of rupees on investing in a software that would give us something called, customer intelligence. But that is, of course, not connected. We wanted to first understand how to bring it together. And we want to understand where our customer is coming from. When does that lead become a customer? That's a real question we had. So we implemented Zithara for them. Implementation went like this. We simply gave them a salesman app in the store. So a customer would come into the store. Every salesman in the store on the floor would have this app on their hands. So when the customer comes in, data about the customer is entered, and their preferences as to why they are there in the store are captured. So where the customer is, what is he doing? He's looking around the inventory and is basically making the decision to buy or not buy. If he buys, great, it goes into the POS system, then we read the data again. If he does not buy, then we have him still as a lead, where we're retargeting on another communication platform. If he buys, he's in your CRM. We now know on what date he purchased. Because we know when he purchased and what item he purchased, it is easier for us to nudge that customer to do the next purchase. That next purchase could potentially happen on in-store on e-commerce platform. So we actually provide an e-commerce solution as well. So now what just happened is a customer came into the store, you know why he purchased or what he did not purchase, and you're not making any attempt. The systems are talking to each other seamlessly. When they talk seamlessly, you now understand where your lead is coming from and how to keep that lead when he becomes a customer as loyal, because you know how to send the information. For example, this particular customer came in and bought diamonds. So what would be brilliant is, as the customer walks out of your store, if you're able to send out care instructions about how to care for his jewelry bought. But today, none of that information goes out from you to your customers. They just make a payment, they walk away. And then after, if you remember the name of the customer, you then call. Otherwise, the customer is left to themselves. You don't even know the repeat cycle of every customer in your data. So what Zithara does is, it keeps looking at your data every day, understands the segments the customers fall into. When we say segment, there could be valuable customers, there could be loyal customers, anything. And keeps targeting those customers regularly so that your reach to the customer becomes smaller and quicker. And and we also give rewards. We do a lot of other tools along the way, but all of those tools talk to each other, so you don't have to understand the data.
Yeah, Sridevi, first of all, I think thanks for sharing that journey of that customer from the time they come to the store to whether they buy, don't buy, etc. Now, I think what is very important is that helping the store associate is as important or is as good as customer service.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, we think that we have to service the customer. And I'll just tell you, because we work with one of the large Fortune 100 retailer in the US, and they've been telling us repeatedly one thing: we help serve our store associate. Store associate service is as important as customer service. We didn't get it for some time. And what they said was this: when a customer comes to the store, the first person they see is all the associates in the store. For your brand, your stores, your name, your credibility, everything comes from that person. If you service that person, empower that person, your brand is built, your loyalty is built, your conversion is built. Not looking at from just a conversion perspective. If you see, I hear that from Sankalp also on how are you helping that store person give the variety of diamonds instantly. Same thing you're talking about, saying that if I'm empowered with all the information in my mobile phone, can I not serve that customer better? And if you are looking for specialists who are not there on the spot, you're going to waste time. And today the patience and the time, I think the attention span is just 2 seconds in the world of reels. If you are not able to answer quickly, people will just leave. And that's the impression that you're going to have. On the other thing about everything that you do is also about the loyalty. Yes. I think there are various numbers floating around, but the number that I have is it's 4 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than retain an existing customer. Right? Also economically, it makes a lot of sense to retain that existing customer, and what can we do with that?
And to add to that, right, because the retention numbers are so low, no matter what the information is being shared, what ends up happening in this industry is a lot of money spent on customer acquisition. 10 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than to retain, right? So there is, if you see the budgets of any jewelry business, they're swollen in acquisition as opposed to retention, which should be the other way around. But obviously there is no data to do anything that way.
No, absolutely. It makes a lot of economical value to you and also excite your customers. Coming to Abhijit, I think you do something very different and noble, which is you're democratizing technology for small and medium enterprises, right? If you can just take some example of, today everybody thinks that only big companies can afford technology, right? They can only have the cutting edge technology. Can you just tell us how are you making small and medium enterprises have the same benefits of a large enterprise?
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to small or medium businesses, what are the challenges in adapting the technology? First is they don't have technically literate people, team members, who can take care of the technology, who can execute, who can implement, at least execute and manage the day-to-day operations. That is lagging.
Are you audible? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That is one. Now, second, how much of their budget can be allocated to this technology? Because they are focusing on their day-to-day operations, day-to-day survival, so they cannot invest heavily on technology. So we give them the starting point, saying that it's a very simple plug-and-play solution. They don't have to invest heavily on the implementation aspect of it. They don't have to be tech-savvy. Anyone who is comfortable using a mobile phone can start using the app. Just build their catalog by adding the photos and start sharing it. It's a simple integration into WhatsApp, so they can reach out to their existing customers without any hassles. And everything, as I was saying in the beginning also, our slogan is simple, fast, secure, right? Our primary focus is any new feature that we build has to be simple. It has to be user friendly. We don't need tech savvy people just to handle the application. Second is we are keeping it very cost effective to ensure even the smallest business can have an online presence. They can digitize their entire operations at a very nominal subscription cost. So the moment they enter into that, definitely there are more and more features. They can, as they grow, we can give them more features. They can increase their tech budget and they can keep adding newer features and keep getting more and more benefit out of it.
Which part of their business can they use your technology for? Which all parts?
End to end. See, right from showcasing their products using a digital catalog, accepting the orders, which again gives a simple e-commerce experience to their clients the moment they share a digital catalog. Once we get the order, how do we manage the order, track the order end to end, be it on the customer side, be it on the supplier side, be it on the factory side. So the time for delivery from the order TAT, right? So that can be tracked, that can be improved. Then what is the inventory that you are holding on? What is the orders that are pending on the customer side? What is pending on the supplier side? Overall, are you going to hold on to surplus or are you going to run short? All this information. Next comes your customer-centric information. How often they buy, what are the demographics, average ticket size, special dates like birthdays, anniversaries. All this gets captured in a very simple way. It's not like somebody has to keep feeding the data. It gets fed automatically because when any end customer wants to use that, it requests for some basic data, it gets integrated into the system. So this gives them a very easy and simple way to enhance their business and give a much better customer experience.
Correct. So again, if you can see whether it's Sridevi's organization or Abhijit's organization, they are building integration of various parts of the business. Now, look at this from a technology perspective, but what does it do? It builds something called transparency within your organization. Now, why transparency? Transparency builds trust and transparency builds speed. Why do you need to integrate systems? Discrete systems are going to delay stuff. It's almost like I have to pass on a message to you. 4 people are in between. By the time he or she listens to that message, it will be completely convoluted. So the same thing happens in business. If you don't integrate, you're going to have slowness. You're also going to lose a lot of information and intelligence in the process. Therefore, effectively impacting the relevance of your decision making for the customers. I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate in the next question. Typically, panel discussions always talk about all the best things that we do. And each one of our companies are in different stages of evolution. And there are places that things have not worked, which means that we have failed in something. And each failure is a great stepping stone for success, which means if you have to go back and then said, right, what is that one big learning? Again, keep the audience in mind. Our customer chose us. We did not meet that expectation, but that gave a big learning. In other words, what can we learn that when they adopt something like this, what should they be careful about? So that's the learning if you can pass on from your experience.
So I would credit this learning to my graduation from IIT Bombay. The Shivraman sir asked, chicken came first or egg came first? Chicken always comes first. You have to set up the supply first to get the demand. You have to start improving the situation, the problems, the troubleshooting through systematic developments or improvements. Then only they will get solved. So the chicken always comes first. You also always have to put the first effort. The egg will come later. The result will come later. If you, at your store level, let's say, you have a problem, let's say, with the customer retention, as we are talking about. So you have to make the first step. The customer is not going to. So the chicken comes first in my dictionary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, therefore, what is the learning in the sense? What should they do if they have to adopt your system?
They have to open their heart and their mind to newer things. Most of the trials are free. We have good examples to show. We have very good customers to give a reference for. So try it out. Take a step, take a chance. You're not going to lose much, but if you gain, the upside is very big.
Great point, Sankalp. I think I just want to add on to that is that, we all can learn from the world of technology. Do you know when an Apple or an Android releases their next version, what is it called? Some version 10.2.3. And if you actually see the details, what do they write? Bug fixes. Software is the only company in the industry which is proud of fixing bugs. Do we blame the software? Why did you have bug? They daily fix bugs. They daily fix bugs because they daily do experiment. Here is a great industry that we can learn from, right? For exactly what you said, particularly when it doesn't cost. Why not you experiment, right? For I would definitely ask everybody, it's not just your business. Any new idea comes to you, if you see even an inclination that it could help, why not you try? More the experiments, better the chance of success. Simple. The top end of the basket, of course, don't try experiments which you don't even see a light of the day, but definitely do some experiments for sure. Thanks for bringing that up.
One of the things, so digital transformation is a top-down approach. We've seen it work very well when the top management buys into it. And then, of course, they rally the entire team to work with them. Whenever it happens, again, in silos, it doesn't work. So again, to lead up to what Sankalp is saying, it requires a wholehearted approach. While the industry is talking about it's time for digital transformation and everything, and we need AI-driven technology and everything, the question is, technology is there, but we have to have the willingness to try one right way. That's what I would say.
Got it. Nilesh?
So, with us, many customers we have found that, they do not have clarity on what they want. I mean, when they say, okay, this is a store I want, what is it exactly that they want their customer to visualize this as? And many a times, a lot of technology can be used even in the fixtures. We've now got shelf talkers, which basically are screens. She was just speaking about, how AI can give you the next product, which you can push to a customer. I can give it to you on a shelf talker, which is just 2 inches high, and you can see everything that you otherwise, which is in your background or in your warehouses, can be shown up there. So those things are there. But the whole thing is that there has to be a distinction between the design process and the build process. Now, when the design and the build process kind of intermingles with each other, which is where the slack is built, in terms of even the cost, even the overruns, other overruns that we have. So what we have found is actually we are not bringing too much to the table. What we are really doing is, okay, we've got a good design, we've got a good understanding of how things work, and therefore we put that into play. But then the whole responsibility is back on the customer, because if that flip-flop keeps happening during the course of the contract or when the store is being built, the value that we've otherwise generated starts getting lost. And that's where we feel of less importance in what we have done. Because we've not stood true for what we have come to meet for, right? So that's where we think we fail sometimes, to understand the customer in the first bit. And sometimes those learning curves go on a little longer. But typically what we've found is that within the first project, 70-80% optimization happens. And at the end of the first one, we realize what is the remaining 20% that needs to happen. And then obviously it's an ongoing process. And then obviously there is still more innovation, because you will have new merchandise, there is new developments happening in the market, and all of that needs to go into the next innovation that comes into your store. So it's a learning curve. So we have a typical 70-30 mix, because our business is all about experience and luxury. So every luxury brand is not going to look similar every time. So they want to keep up with the latest innovations and trend. So that is a learning for us also, which is a continuous work that we keep doing with our customers.
If you are hearing to him, and I heard learning more times than any other word, right? Now I think in all of new developments, new innovation, new experiments, I think not going with a mindset of perfection. I want it right in the first few weeks, right? Nothing works like that. Very few things work like that, particularly when it involves two parties together. Like you said, first store is a learning experience for both, and next onwards you will get it. The same way, I think having that mindset to say, let's join hands together and make it work. right? I think that's a great
There's
approach.
always a feedback loop, which is continuously
Absolutely.
working backwards for
No,
both
absolutely.
ends, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah,
See,
Abhijit.
simple motto for any business, fail fast, fail hard, right? That is when you learn, you move forward. If they don't experiment, they cannot even explore, they cannot visualize, or they cannot experience what they might have achieved, what is the potential. If they don't experiment, we're never going to realize that. So obviously, technology, take anyone's example, right? There are so many pros and cons. If they don't try, if they don't explore, they will never realize the benefit of it. So that has been one of the hardship for us also, and especially the point raised by Sridevi, right? The top-down approach. When we are giving a demo to the decision makers, they love the solution. They say, yeah, let's go, let's start ahead. The moment we want to execute, the implementation part is handed over to some other staff member. They are not keen. Every day they start complaining, no, that this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Why? Because it's an additional task for them. For them, the status quo has to be maintained. They don't want to take up something new, right? So we have struggled, but we have also learned on how to tackle that. The moment they start using it for 2 months, 3 months, they also start realizing the potential, how much it is benefiting them on a day-to-day operation basis. And that is when the threshold is crossed and they start seeing, okay, ab kya kar sakte hain? And they open up and they start giving the feedback. Your app doesn't have this. Can you build this also for me?
Got it. Yeah, thanks Abhijit for that experience. I think it's very important that through the early days, there has to be a good amount of hand-holding from the technology side, from the vendor side, so that, retailers...
And we do offer training, extended training to make sure the teams can get up and running using the system. All that is in place.
Yeah. So I'll just come to that. I just want to share at this point of time, a technique which Jeff Bezos, I've read, that he uses in taking decision making, right? You have two types of decisions. He calls it single door decisions and multi-door decisions. Single door decisions are high impact decisions you don't take frequently, right? Now, maybe Nilesh, right? It's not a single door, it's not a multi-door decision. It's a huge investment you take. Once you take, which means you have to be thoughtful you can take more time in taking the single door decisions. But in multi-door decisions, which could be lots of other solutions, which are multi-door decisions, where even if you make a mistake, there's another door you can enter. Like you can run in versions very fast. So look at business challenges in this form. Is it a single door problem or a multi-door problem, right? If it's a multi-door problem, just go ahead with, let's say, 80% accuracy. Don't wait for perfection. Then I think there is a lot of scope. Now, what I just want to move now into, nothing we can implement without people.
Yes.
Are we clear? Right?
Absolutely.
For it's people who will make all of these things happen. Technology could be an enabler. Everything will come down to people. That's at the core of everything. Now, if you have to transform and we have an existing practice, and this is something that we keep hearing, every company or a owner is worried about technology to acha hai, mere log to use karna chahiye na, right? Now that will be the question, right? Whether my person will use it or whether I will use it, how will you make sure that I will get return on this? So I really want you to talk them through, let's say if you have to give 3 tips, right? Or 1 tip for that matter. How do you make that process happen? Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So we put a lot of effort so that the training process is very small. For us, we design very intuitively so that the training itself is very less. But let's say there is a training component. For example, you have to deploy Book My Diamond across all your stores, and we take you through a training process. The number one thing I would say is don't do a blackboard, a whiteboard training. Sales guys, especially sales guys, are not front benchers, they are back benchers. If you go back 10 years and see wo class mein kahan baithte the, probably wo piche baithte the, and that's why they are good salespeople. So I would urge you to give them a practical situation, get them right in the swimming pool without the the life vest, and they are trained as salesmen, or their innate quality as somebody who can crack an exam in one night's preparation, or convert the sale even if the customer is bored, right? So they have you have to trust their ability and give them a practical instead of a theoretical demo.
Got it.
So we basically work with everybody in the organization that it impacts, right? So our systems impact sales, marketing agencies, marketing department, and also operations. So anytime a new system comes in, there's got to be a change in some process at some level. So while the change in the process happens, we do guide them through all of those steps. And if there is the team, we work with the team. If there is no team, we do offer an extended support in terms of helping them with the marketing and extended marketing team. We do help with setting up the content that they need for at least 3-4 months until they are up and running, so that they actually see the value of something that is done right. So it is something we made it as an agenda when we came into this industry, that we would have to do this level of support and until they are up and running. So that's there in place from our side.
I've got a hint that we are running behind schedule. So we'll just move forward. I think if you have any one or two questions, I think maybe we can take the question from the audience. And plus all the panelists have a booth outside. If you have any more questions, you can actually go and meet them, and we are also available off stage for any discussion. I would like to maybe just sum up and thank all the panelists for wonderful viewpoints. While adopting any technology, I think this is also a message for all the technology companies. Retail itself is a complex business, and there's so many things to be done by the retailer, by the owner, by the companies. I think as technology companies, we should not give any burden. We need to make their life simple. Right. Therefore, I think we cannot bring some more things to, for them to worry about, rather enable that process. I think that's the ownership on our side. And I think fantastic systems are available. I think one point I took is any software you're developing, make it in such a way that there is no need of training. Right. How many of us have got trained by ChatGPT for how to use? Did they train us? Right. So we need to build softwares like that where we really don't need to train anybody.
I think WhatsApp is an excellent example.
WhatsApp is such an excellent example. Actually, users are the trainers of other users.
In fact, most of you guys are running jewelry businesses, and the amount of time you give to building that infrastructure, which is not your core job, and if you can focus that time in your core businesses, how much of an opportunity would that open up? And we see that people are spending that all the time.
Okay. I think there's a question from the audience, yeah.
I'm 18. So, my question is to Sridevi ma'am. So, actually you spoke about the contents or the details about the customer, right? So nowadays there's a question about the privacy of a customer. So, taking all their details, understanding the customer, how do we even maintain their privacy, and how do we respect their privacy and taking our benefits? So that's my question.
Thank you for asking that question. So the Data Privacy Act talks about it being consent-based, right? So far as we have the consent of the customer, it is the data that is given to us by them. So we make sure, as part of this collection of data, there's a consent that's been asked in one form or another. And after that, it is the data analytics that's coming into place. And at any step, any stage of this communication, customer always will have the option to back out from that. So that's always open for them. And it's always going to be intent-based. That's how we built that into the system from the day go. Thank you.
Is there any more question? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just to add to that, right? Any technology, let's take a simple example of any app which is on an app store or a play store. The moment I breach any of the policies, privacy policies, my app is taken down in no time. So as a technology developer, I don't have a choice. I have to comply with that. Okay. So that is where the consent comes into picture, and we have to be 100% transparent to survive. There is no other option. There are enough regulations in place, be it from the governments, be it from the app store, the stores itself. There is enough regulation to ensure the privacy is not breached.
Thank you so much. I'm going to please request all our distinguished panelists to kindly step forward. And to do the honors, may we please kindly invite Mr. Mansu Kothari, GJ EPC, and Mr. Santosh Sawan, Technology Division Head, De Beers, to kindly join us here and present mementos to our brilliant panelists. Well, friends, it's been a great celebration right since morning till evening, where we have our last panel discussion, post which the bar shall be open, and without any break, we shall go on to honor our absolute fabulous, our stalwarts, our living legends, and our super achievers in our very own industry of gems and jewelry. So we shall be honoring excellence, and at the same time, there won't be any break in between, but please feel free to go and hit the bar simultaneously in the room itself. For now, we have our last panel discussion. Let's give a lovely round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all our panelists here on stage, and Mr. Ganesh Subramanian, the founder and CEO of Stylumia, for moderating this session. Thank you. Sankalp Goyal, come on, let's continue the applause, everybody. Abhijit Ladgonkar. Thank you so much to Sridevi Reddy and Nilesh Rathod. Thank you, Abhijit Lalgondar. And this is for the moderator. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, what an outstanding panel discussion.